श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम् श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम् नवकंज लोचन कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुणम कंदर्पगणित अमित छवि नवनील नीरद सुंदरम मानहु तडित रुचि शुचि नौमि जनक सुतावरम श्रीराम 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 श्रीरामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम नवकंज लोचन कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुणम कंदर्प अगणित अमित छवि नवनील नीरद सुंदरम पटपीतमानहु तडित रुचि शुचि नौमि जनक सुतावरम श्रीराम 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 श्रीराम
I can't really do much of this. We didn't have one satsang.
1 week. Talking satsang 1 week.
Monday?
Monday. Today's Monday.
Ah. Yeah, we didn't miss Friday.
Okay.
The mic to Jyotika. Going to switch on this one.
Father, can you share a little bit about how you can't get hurt when your heart is faced towards God? How it's not possible to like hearing that a bit more.
We may, let's see how it arises. So, we get hurt when we see that some innocence is being harmed in oppression, for example. You may see some innocent child being oppressed or in these crazy war situations being killed. So that may hurt our heart. But the hurt which is about self-concern, self-image, that reduces more and more because the center of our life becomes God Himself. Then our concern, we are only concerned with God. It will be crazy to say we are concerned for God, but our only concern becomes God. And then when God is our only concern, or more and more our concern is with God, then what earlier used to get hurt or upset because of self-image, self-concern, then that reduces. In fact, you come to a point where you don't want to waste any time on this me business. Because it seems like such a massive waste of time to spend on that which doesn't actually exist, has no, whichever school of Vedanta you may follow, has no real substantial existence. The reality, the substantiability is with God Himself. So let's just to sound, I keep attempting to sound non-academic. So when God is in our focus, then it doesn't matter so much what is happening to the sidekick. You see? Even the greatest Batman fan will not be able to tell you what happened to Robin in every comic. They may be able to tell you what happened to Batman. Huh? So it depends on who's at the center. Is the me at the center or is God at the center? And really, we cannot use it indirectly to help the me. Like we cannot use it as a tactic. We can't use it as a tactic, but I was with God, why am I not feeling better? Then if you were with God so that you could feel better, then still me was at the center of it. You see? So remember that spirituality is a process of giving and not getting. So when we are offering ourselves to God, so first we have to say, I belong to you, Lord. मैं आपका हूँ भगवान. First we have to say that before we can say you are mine. I am yours and you are mine. It has to be in that order. Otherwise it can get convoluted a bit. So really, since we had a bit of a break and Shiv tells me it was 1 week, so let me emphasize the most important point I'm trying to make, which is that God is here. You see, God is here. Like, God Himself is here, the very one who is the Lord of a gazillion multiverses. He is here. He is here and He is available. Is he? Available to become our beloved in whichever construct we make ourselves available to Him. So our beloved or our beloved father or our beloved child or our beloved friend, whichever construct, and all of these are defined as various forms of bhakti in Indian spirituality. So we can live our life with that being the fundamental basis for our life, His here-ness being the fundamental basis of our life, and not our so-called egotism. You see, our so-called meanness. Why so-called? Because when looked for, it isn't even really found. You see? It isn't even really found. There is no such me that is found. So it's a question of God in faith or a presumed me in the mind intellect. So if you were to break down faith a little more, we will say that because God is not to be seen really through outer eyes, then how can God be seen? How can God be seen? Yeah? Through intuitive insight, through Atma Darshan, through Atma Gyan, through intuitive insight, and that intuitive insight feeds our faith. You see? It feeds our faith. Every time we fall into the intuitive insight, we deepen in our faith. So God is seen through faith. You see? Now faith is to insight what belief is to concept. Okay, I'll be academic. Just 2 minutes. So it is often confused that when we say faith, it sounds like we have to blindly believe conceptually that God is here. You see? Just keep convincing yourself God is here, God is here, God is here. Like that. You see? That is often called faith, but no, that is still belief. Faith is that every time you have an insight of His presence, of His here-ness, then that builds on the faith. You see? So, faith is to insight what belief is to concept. Who can repeat this? School teacher. So, we start leading our lives from a different place, from a different compass. You see, we were relying on conceptual knowledge, right and wrong, better, worse, all of these things, to heart insight, through intuitive insight, through Atma Gyan. You see? So we start living from there. Now when you live from there, the concern about the ever-changing, unstable ego reduces more and more and more and more and more. And you feel like in life you get situations where all the conditions we've had about this me are brought out more and more and more and more. You see? So this process sometimes can be a bit unnerving because you feel like, but I'm deepening in my spirituality. Why am I getting more of this? You see? It's not that you're getting more of this, you're actually releasing more of this. So you look at it that way, that it's not that it's coming more. Look at it that it is going more. You see, all of this pent up years of conditioning, please come. All these years, decades of conditioning, then when we encounter, you are learning how to let go of it. Now, keep God in the center of the frame. It's a very easy instruction to follow, isn't it? Huh? Is it easy to follow? When we tried it today? So today God was at the center of the frame. Our partner would have said anything, our bosses would have said anything, all of those things would have happened, but God was in the center, isn't it? No. Why not? God is here. Even logically, once we know, even logically, even if it was a belief, then won't it make sense that let's keep God in the center of the frame, everything is better with God. That is even logically true, isn't it? You don't even need intuitive insight. Even logically it makes sense. So why is it difficult? Because the me is?
Super strong.
The me seems super strong. You see, the me, thank you. So this me seems super strong. You see, and actually, how is it? How strong is it actually? It's not. So if it's not non-existent, so actually it's not even existent, but it seems super strong. So that seeming super strong of the me is called mine. That is mine. When me seems super strong, it is mine. You see? So that is why uh, the spiritual path is a path where we go through all of this process of transcendence of the false to learn to live in the truth. You see? Now you know logically and you know in your heart that God should always be at the center of my life. You see? And yet, like Atma said, the me seems super strong throughout the day, many times a day, let's not say throughout the day. Many times in the day, this me seems super strong. You see? And then what happens is the sneaky trick of the me is to make even God about itself. How is God helping me? Yeah? You see? So keeping the me at the center, then we are still in Maya. If the me is at the center, no matter how high our thoughts, words, even deeds to ourselves may seem, it is still me, it is still egotism, it is still Maya. You see? So a simple question, if we ask ourselves, who is this really about? You see? Who is this really about? Then it will give us some distance, you see, from Maya and reality. So there are various things. The uh, whole spirituality sometimes is framed as warfare, like Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita, which is the sermon at the start of the Mahabharata, at the start of the actual war in the Mahabharata. So all of spirituality many times is framed in this battlefield metaphor, because what is clear to us that God, those who are in spirituality, it is clear that God should be at the center of their lives, every frame of their movie, and yet the me seems so strong. It takes a lot of the frames. It takes a lot of the footage of our life belongs to the me. So that difficulty, to face that difficulty, is the process of spirituality. Everyone knows God is here. We know it here. You know it here also, and we know it here also. And yet, everyone also knows me is at best next to nothing, at best, and at worst nothing at all, isn't it? So everyone knows this also, here also, and here also. And yet it seems to be difficult. You see? Difficult. So that to transcend that difficulty, to walk the path of that difficulty, and learn to make it natural, to return to God, to live in the innocence where God is naturally at the center, is the process of spirituality. Now, if you're not finding it difficult at all, if you're not finding it difficult at all, just God, 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 center, truth, 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 is at the center, then either you have transcended Maya, or you haven't really come face to face with the project itself. Now the sages have told us it is important to transcend Maya, because how we live now is how we will forever live. Some of them have told us like that. How we live now is how we will forever live. That's why most of them told us, don't waste time. Time is precious, don't waste time. In all traditions. This time is precious. Don't waste time. Don't wait. What would be wasting time?
Following the me and its desire.
Just living with the me and its resentments and its grievances and its pride and its guilt and its all its positions and its ideas. You see, even if you look at it objectively now, you would not want to live that way forever. You see, so if I paint this picture for you and say, imagine your life empty of all of these things, just empty of all stories, narratives, grievances, resentments, pride, all of these things. How is your life? Natural. Many of you may say just natural, original. Original is a good word. So, the provocation, the invitation, and oftentimes the provocation leads to frustration. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the provocation always has been, don't waste time, because how you are now, avsar bar bar nahi aave. It is said that the opportunity will not come over and over again. Don't waste this opportunity. That death is coming. Even if we say what happens after death is an unknown, and we have to rely on God, we have to rely on the sages to tell us, even then, it just even conceptually sensible, intellectually sensible to not waste time. Okay, so if we stop talking about even the future, isn't our life much better in a godly way than in a egotistical way? Isn't it? So let's not worry for a moment about the carrot or stick. You see, although the carrot and stick has been emphasized by many sages, but let's say forget, nothing like that. What about right now? This life, this moment, better in God's presence. So like we defined, we said that we know at all levels that to be with God is better, and yet the me seems so strong, it becomes central. Therefore, what do we need? Upon just knowing this, it doesn't go away. No? Like the Magog effect. You remember the Magog effect? Where the lips are moving ba, 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 ba. You hear ba, ba. But if only the image changes on the screen, look this up if you weren't in Satsang those days. So look up the Magog effect, where the image changes to fa, fa, fa. You see? Only the image changes, but the sound is actually still ba, ba, ba. You still hear fa, fa, fa. And maybe if you have time at the end of Satsang, I can play that. We hear fa, 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 although there is no fa, fa, fa. You see? Just because the lips are moving in that way, and the recording is messing with our cognitive systems, whatever it is doing. So, in the same way, and it doesn't go away once you know. You see? In the same way, Maya doesn't go away once you know it's Maya. You see? I know it's Maya. When me come, main aaya, Anandamayi Ma says, this is Maya. Okay, I know this. Have I gained mastery over Maya because of it? No. Because our relationships will still poke. Our relationships will still bother us. Our money situation will still bother us. The health of our body will still bother us. You see? Our incompleteness of knowledge will still bother us. You see? And we will never attain perfection in any four of these. It's just not possible. There is no such thing as perfection without God. Just as there is no such thing as love without God, as Kierkegaard said. Only God is perfection. Please.
Recently I had some, I guess, dark days where I was, I had the emotions of anxiety, of restlessness, of But there wasn't any situation that seemed to trigger it. It just came like that, like heavy clouds and into my being framework. I don't know. And now when I look back on it, I feel like what I did was I got into a mode of trying to figure it out and then I got into a mode of venting it out, and then I got into a mode of sorting it out.
Yeah.
And then it all, and now when I look back at it, I feel that on its own those things were not Maya, but Maya, the way I went about it all was, then I lost my connection. And if I had managed to be at ease with the discomfort completely, it would have then maybe just been a natural thing. And I learnt a lot. Because I was like, I don't want to do this again, because also once you vent it, you share it, you sort it, you make take a lot of stupid steps, you talk to people, then they will remind you also even after that. It's gone, actually goes away, but
Yeah. But they may still hold it.
yeah. So
It's like the patient may be healed, but the doctor is still remembering the disease.
yeah.
No? It may work like that. So I've really contemplated this. And I have to say that the way Anandamay Maya has told us is like just as if it's the mouth of God speaking. Like Maya is Main, I. So when this me becomes the central one in the picture, that is when it has us. So when things come, appearances come, thought patterns come, conditioning, getting released comes up, all these things seem to come. They themselves do not get us into the stuckness. You see, they by themselves don't have the power to do it. You see? And that is also God's mercy. Like He leaves it to who we will pick. He leaves it to who we will pick. So if we pick reliance on the me, then we pick that. Now we have to deal with it. You see? But if we leave it as I am going to lie down at his door, let anything come, I am not going to leave his door. I am not going to, whichever way you look at it, I am not going to leave his feet. I am not going to leave him. Or I will not leave the truth of who I am. You see, a non-bhakti temperament will say, a jnani may say that, but this has nothing to do with the truth of who I am, so I will not leave that. Till that choice is made to pick Maya, that I will go with my agency, I will go with my will, I will go with what I want. You see? Till then, we can't even call it Maya, because no event by itself, no thought pattern by itself, none of it can actually hurt reality. It can hurt either the reality of what I am, to put into that construct, or even I'll go as far as to say that hurt a devotee of God. You see? It's when the devotee starts to get devoted to themselves, you see, that is when they can be hurt. But just lying down in his temple in sheer humility, unless you pick up the defenses cannot be attacked. So it's fine. As you notice this, then you say that I lost my connection to that. Now that you see that we lost our connection to that, we are already then making a connection to that. You see? Because when we have lost the connection to that, we don't even notice that. We rarely notice. But then Maya grabs us, like when they're in the middle of the boxing match. Then sometimes after getting a punch, we may notice, where have I come? But usually we are too much in the midst of it, so the next punch is coming and we forget about that, where have I come, very quickly. in the battle. So but now that you're seeing it quite clearly because you have some distance from the situation probably, so now you can return, and you will find that the good thing about our God, is what? The good thing is that for him, he can fix the past, present and future. Like he is not subject to the arrow of time. You see? So we don't have to worry that, okay, now what have I done? Like many times we get into this regret type thing. Now, okay, now I've spread all of this everywhere and now everybody is caught up in that thing. Now, you will see that just by staying with him, staying with the truth, you will see that many things will just be healed, even if they have happened in the past. It'll, like, no, most things we won't even know have got fixed because all memory of that will also be removed. So I don't even want to say because God lives in a much higher dimension, because he's much beyond all this dimension and stuff like that. But if you were just to imagine somebody living in a much higher dimension, for them past and future is not linear like it is to us. So don't have to worry. As you return to him, he knows. He'll heal all of this. You see, so we are not trapped in our past. We are not prisoners of our past. You see, just in the same way we are not prisoners of our future. We are not trapped in our past. Yeah. I was just trying to explain something to my children about physics. Not that they were very interested in what I had to share, but I was just trying to explain to them that if in a double slit experiment the observer has been put in place, you see, then when the electron is fired itself, it knows that it has to go through a slit before encountering the observer itself. You see? So even an electron knows its future. So we are not trapped in our past or our future all this time. An arrow of time is just a way that we are navigating our life with our attention in some way. So we are just navigating our life in these ways. But for God, these things are not set in stone. So that's why I hardly ever talk about predetermination or karma and all of that, because I'd rather give all that power to God and say, he's here, he's alive. For him, he's not bound by any of his own rules. Like everyone will admit, if I say, okay, who made the script? God made it. Now if God is God, he can't give himself an eraser, is it? Like, what kind of God would it be if he didn't have an eraser for his own script? So it's all up to him. Sometimes it gives us peace to know that it's all predetermined, so we don't have to stress about it. If you're using it that way, then it's fine. But if we take ourselves to be victims of our past or future, then we are taking away God's freedom. Yeah? And don't even get me started about physics and the many worlds theory, which is the only one which fits with the computations. Yeah? Which means that every time a choice is made, there is a universe created. This is physicists, not some pseudoscience, not some Marvel movie, although many movies have been inspired by this stuff. But this is actual physics right now. So what are the two explanations? Okay, I'm going to shut up about this in a minute. The two explanations are, the one explanation is that when the observer is put into place, then the wave function of the electron crashes, which doesn't make sense, because the wave function subsiding when the observer is put in place, there is no mechanism for why it should subside. Second is that when we put the observer only has the capacity to see what is happening in one universe. You see? So although all the universes for where the electron has to go, they are in existence, but the observer only can observe So this is what scientists are fighting about today, and they've been fighting about it for the last 20 years. So at least. So spirituality is not seeming that far-fetched. And if I knew some scientists, I would tell them, what would happen if you put God into the picture? Because I have a sense that everything would make sense. If you just put God into the picture centrally, then all this which you're fighting about will start to become comprehensible to some extent. It will not seem impossible. Yeah. So that's my rant about physics.
When you lose your connection and you know and you reach out to reconnect, and you said that if you're a Gyan yogi or if you're a bhakti, you will have your own way of doing it. I find that when I'm really far away and I'm really low, it's very much, God, please help me. I mean, I can even, like, sometimes I have a murti of Krishna. I can even look at that. I can even put flowers. All of this I do. But when I'm steady, it's the other, and there may be no bhakti for very long. It's like this. It just goes from like.
You can turn off the lights, maybe it'll come back on. It's off? It's off, yeah, it's off. It's off. The AC is on the same circuit then somehow. Are we back? Looks like we're getting back.
Has the UPS come on?
Kind of. I don't see a visual. I see all of you. Okay, we'll continue. You can hear me? Yes, okay, good. Sound is okay. Not that dark, is it? This is the other camera, so this seems to be working. All right, okay. So, refresh you.
When one is having a moment of a bad time or something that one is finding hard to stay centered, or some situation gets the better of one, even I find I'm immediately in that bhakti mode, to the point of like, it's Ram Ram, please God, I'm clinging to his feet in my heart and then when it's steady, I think I moved completely to the who am I.
Yeah.
And I think, is this madness? Like, am I only like like in the same day?
I become a bhakta when I'm suffering.
Yeah.
And then when things are fine, then I'm just in
Yeah.
who am I open. It sounds alright.
Yeah.
Sounds alright. Doesn't sound too bad. As long as we have tools for both situations, you're all right. See, life changes like this. It can go from too cold to too hot in a few minutes. So if we are to change every time we are faced with these vagaries of life, then our life will be very unstable. So we have to find the stability inside ourselves. What did Lord Krishna say in the Gita? He said, those who can go through heat, cold, all these things without flinching, without changing, they are fit for immortality. So is he talking about just temperature like this? No, he's talking about the heat that life. It happened?
Through grace,
Yes.
by grace.
That so we often talked about the fact. Is this still working?
Yes.
Oh, good. So we've often talked about the fact that everything happens by His grace. You see, everything is in God's will. You see. Now I'm going to ask you to stretch a bit because this much is easily understood. You see, we can rest here and say everything happened. You see, but that is a Western linear intellect. So I'm going to say, although everything always happens by His will alone, and yet it is our complete job to keep turning to Him. It is our complete job to keep turning to Him, and probably our only job to keep turning to Him.
My mind doesn't understand.
I am not trying to convince your mind, it will not get it. The mind is linear, I know that. You see, but somewhere this will ring true for you. So I'm trying to reach that place by saying it. So look at it more like a Zen statement than something that the mind can fathom. All right, you know. Yeah. But really the job of the spiritual teacher is not to convince your mind, because then that would be a failing project. That will never work. It is to find tools and convey those tools to you that can bring you to the spirit, which doesn't operate in that linear way. So although everything always happens by God's will alone, you see, within that will, our job, and we have been given this job, which is to turn to God, love God, to keep God central. You see? So when Jesus said, He did not happen if it is God's will. And Jesus Himself said, you must love your neighbor the same way. He did not say if it is going to happen this way by God's will. He did say that if it is your will, then let this cup go from me that I have to drink. With the crucifixion, he said, in that case, he said, if it is your will, I pray that it be taken from you. You see? But when he was giving us what we have to do, then he did not say that this will only happen if it is God's will. You see? So everything only happens in His will, and yet our turning to Him or not turning to Him has been left to us. You see, and we can do it, and we must do it. We must do it, because a forced love is not loved at all. If our turning to Him in love would also be something that was forced upon us by a sort of predetermination, then that would not be love at all. I've often spoken about this, that if I forced my son to call me at 9 o'clock every day and forced him to say I love you at 9 o'clock every day, then would you really call that love? No. You see? But if he called me and he said, I was busy, I'm partying with my friends, or I had so much work to do, or something like that, and still I remembered you and I love you, Pa. That would be love, isn't it? So if God, one of the explanations for creation is that God wanted to taste His own love. So if that tasting of that love was forced, then we can't really call love anyway, isn't it? So that choice to love or to be egotistical has been left up to us, even though everything happens in His will. Everything. So then, how should we look at this on the spiritual path? We should look at it that every event, every situation that is coming into our life is coming only by His permission, only by His will. How I respond to that situation has been left to me, at least for the moment, till I have any notion of choice left. Till I have any notion of choice left, that choice has been left to me, at least for now. When all notion of choice goes away, then we can talk in a different way. But if we are saying, I can choose my breakfast, I can choose where to live, I can choose where to go today, if you feel like we have all of this choice left, till we feel like we have all of this choice left, we must make the choice moment to moment to turn to God. You feel like you have some choice on some matters or no?
I was thinking about pizza.
Exactly. So whether it seems like, if you're thinking about pizza, then it can seem like you have the choice to go for pizza or to eat a roti. No? It can seem like. So as long as that even seeming choice is there, we must use that choice to turn to God, to live our life to God. Yeah?
So, when you said that, come what may, you don't leave God's feet, whatever the outer circumstances are, you just stay there. I'm just trying to see how that will be. So, like, if something is shaking in my life, like I've lost my job, I'm just making up a story. So I would not leave God's feet. I would say it doesn't matter. It's His problem and He can look after it and He will feed me. And I don't need to stress more and more about finding a job or fixing my relationship but I'm surrendering it to Him, no, that He will look after it. Isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. And if I'm doing the inquiry, then I won't buy the belief that this person who's making this noise in my head is the true one. I would just completely stay grounded that in the self, that I'm pure consciousness or awareness, and I don't have to buy this story.
Yes.
But like you told us once in the walk, that this needs so much practice, because otherwise when the rubber hits the road in that moment, you're not going to be suddenly
Exactly.
able to do
That's
that.
exactly the point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. So, where have we got to now? God is here, you see, and at all levels of sense making, it makes sense to keep Him at the center. Yes? Anybody who's in spirituality will not say, no, it's better to keep me at the center. So if you're in satsang, for all of you, it is sensible so that He should be at the center. Then it is the literal definition of easier said than done, because that He said the me can seem very strong. That me seem, although reality is non-existent, is called Maya. You see? So God's presence is countered with the seeming strength of Maya. Now, therefore, in the spiritual path, if we are not to fall into Maya, we need to be provided the tools. We need to be given the tools that can allow us to encounter Maya without falling for it, to remain centered in God's light without getting into the me, isn't it? So the tools have been provided. The two main tools in satsang are self-inquiry and taking God's name. You see, and these are time tested. Like the first mention of inquiry was in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where the sage Yajnavalkya gave this instruction to find out who we are, who am I, which is thousands of years old. So that is the first tradition, and to take God's name is like across religions, across traditions for thousands and thousands of years. The power of taking God's name has been given to us, has been told to us. So these are the main two Then there are many others. You can work on a Zen path. You can try and remain in the no mind. You can remain in the unborn. You can try all of those things. Whatever, all spiritual paths give us the tools to let go of egotism and turn to reality, God, truth, beauty, whatever term you want to use. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram is the same. So now this much is clear. This is what we are doing here. I know I've been explaining what we are doing here for the last 10 years, but this is usually what is forgotten. This is usually what is forgotten. Now, why does the seeming false, the seeming me, seem so compelling? It's false. No, we should just be able to give it up. It's false. So you can use the Vedantic thought experiment and say, if it comes and goes, it is not real. If it is changing, it's not real. I can chop it up. You see? But when we are in the hypnosis of it, what happens to us? It feels real because it feels right. The narrative feels real because it feels right. Even though it may have this bucket of flesh at the center of it, in that moment it seems so right. You see? So it's reality. As well, I was saying to someone, a sister the other day, that for those where you know it is just wrong, those you must just discard. Like, there is no space in our lives in spirituality to waste time on those which we know are wrong, because there will be plenty of things where we will be hypnotized by its seeming rightness. So it's already revealed itself as wrong to you. Don't waste time on it. Just let it go, because there's plenty of Maya coming which will feel so right. You see? And that is the Maya that we struggle with. You see? That whatever it may be, God may be here, whatever, I may not be this, me, all of that, but it is not right for my boss to behave this way. Isn't it? Whatever our construct may be, in all our lives we have 2-3 main constructs like that. That all this, but let's get real, it's not right. This is not. You see? Now, that which puts me in the center and takes God away from the center can never be right, it can never be auspicious, it can never be good. But for this, to live like this, we need to be warriors. We need to be warriors, because this will come, it will compel us, it will trick us, it will hypnotize us, it will send us worldly evidence, it will do confirmation bias, it will do everything for us not to leave these main narratives in our lives. And all of you can do an audit for yourself and say, what are your 2-3 main narratives which bring the me back in the center? You see, we know the categories, and the 4 categories we've talked about for 14-15 years. So in those categories, all of us will have 2-3 main stories which bring the me back in the center, and these are the stories that we are defending, not realizing that in defending these stories, in defending these grievances, in defending this resentment, we are letting go of what could be a saintly life, a mystical life. Who is a mystic? One who lives in God's presence. Who is a saint? One who lives in God's presence. So our lives can be saintly, they can be mystical, but for the sake of these being right about 2 or 3 narratives, we are giving that up. Agreed that there will be, in all our lives, there will be a maximum of 2 or 3. It doesn't mean that once you transcend them, new ones won't get created. But for the moment, let's stay with that.
But it doesn't mean that.
Say,
It doesn't mean that when I don't hold a grudge or when I don't believe in a story, I'm in God's presence. You know?
yes, you're right. So does it mean that when I am empty, I am in God's presence? Yeah? Now, that's why I use two terms. One is Atma Jnana and the second is Atma Darshan. I'll explain those. So when we are empty, we come to His door. Let me use the metaphor of His door. Now, why I call it a door is that His presence is not palpable to us, but we come to a stillness. Is it? Empty, stillness are very close cousins. So in that stillness, we are already receiving everything from Him. Although her presence may not be palpable yet to us. You see? Now, to remain empty, to remain in that stillness without her being palpable may seem more difficult than to stay when she is palpable or he is palpable. And that is why we need to be in faith. Because faith knows that something is transforming within ourselves, although His presence may not yet be palpable to us. So when we remain in that holy stillness, then when it is by His grace alone, may He reveal Himself as the seen unseen one, as the seen unseen one who lives in our heart, or the unseen seen one who lives in our heart. So then when that palpability comes, it is called Atma Darshan. And the light of Atma Darshan, we get the darshan of the Supreme itself. Both as Saguna and as Nirguna. So even if you are a beginner in spirituality, when you come to that stillness, you may be meditating and you come to that stillness for a few seconds, you recognize something is different about that stillness. It is not just an outer silence. All of us have tasted that, even right at the beginning. So we know somewhere that something holy is happening there. We can't put our finger on it. If the mind bullies us and says, "What did you find?" we may not be able to say anything at all. But in our heart, we know something is there about this. There's some magical thing. There's some supernatural thing, which is beyond the laws of the natural world in this. So that encouragement is there. That reassurance is there for all of us. In fact, we don't want to really leave that place. So, is that part understood? That when we are in the grip of me, as right as the story of the me may seem, and Maya will mostly work with right sounding things will sound very right to you, but it provides the inspirational narrative to keep the me at the center.
I realized that in this Satsang today there is a lot of resistance and frustration, but I can also not serve tea to those thoughts.
Exactly.
You know, it's like catching it. Otherwise, it's just a loop.
And like my advice would be, use God's help. You see? Use God's help in the sense that it may work in some schools, but I'm coming more and more to the seeing that without God's help, this spiritual project is too difficult.
Yeah.
It's too difficult. So when we find that, oh, there is resistance, there is frustration, which means that I have a better idea about how it should be than what God is giving me at the moment. What is resistance? What is frustration? Is that I have a better concept of what this moment should be like, or this satsang should be like, or this time should be like, then what is God, what God has made for me. It's like complaining about mom's cooking. You know, mom has made this, but I have a better idea about what that should be. So although the dish may be fine, we still find it unpalatable. Isn't it? Or dad's cooking, whichever way you want to put it. Resistance is resistance to what? To what is, isn't it? Even what is appearing. How would you like it to be?
No, I would like the experience to be more direct and to sink more quickly.
Yes.
The frustration is.
So how would that look? Just spell it out for me.
I would like to be able to be empty
Yes.
and to feel God's presence.
Yes. Yes. That rather than having to encounter the difficulty on the path and to deal with and to get into this so-called fight, why can't it just be that I just experience God?
I experience.
Why can't it just be that I just experience God? Isn't it? That's the resistance,
Yeah.
isn't it? Why do I have to go through this and this? Why can't it just be like that,
Yeah.
easy? Yeah? So, because it isn't, unfortunately, it isn't. It is the most difficult work that most of us will ever do. This is the most difficult work that we will ever do. But let me tell you why it is difficult. Yeah? It is difficult because even this demand is the me's demand. Even this demand is the me's demand. Like in my spiritual life, why can't it be that God's presence is just here? Why do I have to do all this? Where is that complaint from? Where is that resistance from? Now, if we came to God's presence, if we learn to live in God's presence, and if we could hold on to this me still, then the me would really love that. But unfortunately, the lane is very narrow. If there is me, there cannot be God. If there is God, there cannot be me. Some Christians say, I don't know where it is in the Bible, but they say God is a jealous lover. They don't want to share you. The spiritual me says, why all this? If he was just here, I should just be able to live in his presence. What is all this dealing with Maya and using inquiry and praying God's name? How long do I have to do it? What is the, fine print? What is the guarantee? When will I come to that? So this one is the very one that needs to be transcended, not fed. Imagine if God fed this one. If God fed this one, fed the desires of this one, what would this one become? Just Ravan. Just we use the metaphor of Ravan, not even metaphor, the historic example of Ravan. You're familiar. So this one would become Ravan if it was fed. Imagine if God started dancing to his tune. Om present. Now I want intelligence, you go away. Oh, now I'm done with indulgence, give me presence again. If God just started dancing to his tunes, then all that work of humility, faith, patience, all that, which is the fertile ground for the flowering of our antakarna, of our soul in God's light, then that could just be bypassed. It is very attractive in today's world. It's very attractive in today's world.
To why this? I'm just saying, why does the world look so real? Is because we have the ability to experience it, like I experience it through my senses or whatever, and that kind of gives it a sense of reality. But without the narrative, it wouldn't have that reality. I'm just looking
Just
to see.
experience the world now. Don't label anything. Don't add it to any story. We used to do that, fresh. Just no label for anything. Just openly experience everything. Is there an inside or outside? Is there trouble? Is there resistance? Is there anything? Am I a person? Am I a body? Am I a gender? Now, like any good servant or any good employee, my job is to make myself dispensable, to set things in place so that I can become dispensable. When will I become dispensable? When you learn to put God in the center without needing explanations for why you should. When you realize that in this moment, what stops you from keeping God in the center is just your own story. It has nothing to do with reality. And you build some mastery in turning to God even in the most strongest hypnotic narratives. You see? Then I'm dispensable. Because then the true Sadguru is with you. You're turning to him, her, yourself. Do we need a reason to turn to God? The narrative has trapped us. I feel like things are very unfair. This is not right. You see? So let me work on resolving that first by myself, then I will turn to God. That sounds like an invitation to? Or does that sound like an invitation to? If you recognize that that sounds like an invitation to lifelong suffering, maybe beyond lifelong suffering, then you will be quicker to turn. Every day will feel like a gymnasium for some time. You see? Every day will feel like you have some very difficult work to do. still. Can you love in this moment? Can you love in this moment? Just feel free to walk around anywhere you want in the terrace. Okay, that I forgot that Aslan maybe also. Just tell him to just be on this side. Just close the door here. On this side, if there's a door now, I don't even know if you have the door. It should be fine. So Kabirji said, दुख में सुमिरन सब करें सुख में करे ना कोई. I got reminded when Sonali said. So सुख में सिमरन जो करे तो दुख का एक हो. Again, that when we are unhappy in an unhappy narrative, then we turn to God. When we're feeling satisfied or happy, then most of us don't turn to God. But those who keep turning to God or have turned to God even when things are fine, then they need not experience suffering. This doesn't mean that the events of their life will change. But just being in God's presence, what is suffering? Like the gym right now, what is the weight in this moment? Just like let's say 2 pounds. There's nothing. What is it? Some heat is there, there's no light. Maybe the internet connection is not that great. Maybe some noise from the road. What is the thing? Nothing. There's hardly any weight. So I'm talking about the external environment. Of course, in I know internal environment, other narratives may be adding to the weight. But for now, how easy is it to be with God? It's very easy. Because this much heat anyone can handle. I just came from 46 degrees in Ayodhya, so this is a vacation. So, so this much heat, light not there, no air circulation, stuffy, all of this. How difficult is it to stay with God in all of this? It's not difficult. So this is very good practice time. Yeah. Then it gets added on. My question is not getting answered. So the heat is turned on a bit. Can you still stay with God? My hand has been up for so long, He is not calling me. And the heat is turned up a lot. Not that I'm doing any of this on purpose. Okay? But I'm just saying life makes those situations in all our lives. So and the true Sadguru in our heart runs all of this curriculum. I'm just giving you illustrations when the heat gets turned up. So some is part of the external environment, but then the narrative, oh, what about me? What about my problem? What about my question? What about my growth? What about my, value me, look at me, help me? All of these things can seem like the heat is turned on more. Then if you remember somebody who was very rude to you today, and in the middle of satsang you want to resolve that situation in your head, then the heat is turned up more. You find ways in which the heat, even though the external heat may be manageable, then it seems like it becomes next to impossible to stay in God's presence. These are the simple things I'm talking about transcending. These are the simple things Lord Krishna is telling us in the Gita. That if you can stay with the truth, if you can stay with what your dharma is, and your dharma is to follow His will, and you cannot follow His will unless you are living in His presence, you see, then we have to learn. See, now it's the heat is on, now the sirens are working, the ambulances are running. Are you relying on keeping me at the center or God at the center in these situations? And I'm telling you one thing, that in my experience, he designs our curriculum with the utmost love, with the utmost love. Not 1 ounce of additional suffering is sent our way, not a single ounce. Thank you. That's right. Thank you. So, you can sit. Are you getting a sense of the project? Now in India, what happened a few thousand years ago, and depending, there are lots of debates about this. So some will say a few million years ago, some will say tens of thousands of years ago, some will say 1,000 years ago. We're not getting into that debate. Is that a group of Vanars, a group of the usually a monkey army was able to defeat the strongest army in the universe. You see, because of their faith in Lord Ram. So their, in a way, their leader, although it was Sugriv, is looked at as Hanuman, whose faith was so strong that he was always in high spirits, encountering the most difficult challenges, and he just had so much faith that God is with me, His name is with me. So everything can be transcended. There's nothing called a problem for me anymore. You see. Now there's a lot to learn from that. So this army is called the Vanar Sena. So this Vanar Sena must be an inspiration to us as to how to fight this, how to live in this fight, full of joy, full of wonder, full of love for the Lord. And then that becomes a virtuous circle. The more wonder, the more love, the more joy, the more we deepen in our faith. The more we deepen in our faith, the more we deepen in our insights, the more wonder, the more joy, the more love. You see? And this becomes such a sweetening cycle, deepening cycle. So be careful not to break it. Be careful not to break it. The first step will be to have as much faith in an unseen God as you would have if God was seen in front of you right now. That's the first step. That much faith in the unseen one who lives in our heart, as you would have if the Lord Himself, in whichever is your most loved representation of God, was to appear perceptually in front of you. So one of our teachers, Hanuman Poddar said that he has, one of the tricks in his life is that he has infinite faith in His mercy in his life. उनकी कृपा में असीम विश्वास. So I see these words so that you can be inspired by the sage. How would your life be if you had infinite faith in His mercy upon you? You would treat every moment of your life as His mercy. And anytime you would feel weak, you would feel like you would remind yourself that His strength is with you. We don't want to do the spirituality where we know all of these things in our head alone. If we know all of these things in our head, how merciful is God? Infinitely merciful, we know. It's written in this scripture, it's written there, this sage said. Now that has to become our lived experience. For that we have to learn to let go. How will we meet His infinite mercy if we are taking the steering wheel, not giving one moment to Him? Does this question work for you? Who is this about? Who is this about?
Does this work for you? And then who is this about?
Yeah. Yeah. What happens? When you ask, what happens? It's a bit like that. It's a bit like that. Please come. I don't know who you are, but please come. I meant Advaitically.
But when the web of Maya comes no Bata, and when it's like it's very woo-woo, like it's very,
Yeah.
it's
In
like,
what way? Like it spreads.
yeah, it spreads. It's not. It might have started with one thought and one belief, and then it becomes like it spreads all over, and I'm not in the presence of God, in the presence of all of that.
Important point. So, if I hurt you, what will be your propensity to do next?
Um, Mostly repress and attack back, like
Exactly. So you
say
want to
back.
attack back, or at least the mind propensity in most cases is to find a way to offload that
Yeah,
in front, of someone, whoever
yeah,
gives half an opportunity, triggers you in the slightest way. See? So everyone else said, no, don't, like right now, because he's saying no, because I am in that mode right now, I'm going to spread that. For a single saint who comes into the world, because they learn to face anger, they learn to face resentment, and they give love in return to whoever they meet. You see? So much of this is eaten up in their lives and it is not spread. You see? Otherwise, we are inventing newer and newer terms for it, but basically we're just spreading this. So we may say generational trauma, we may say all these kind of things, but what we're immersing ourselves in is what we are going to spread. So if we are immersing ourselves more and more in God, then God is what we will spread. If we immerse ourselves more in anger, grievance, pride, all of that, then that is what we are going to spread. You see? So our turning to God is a great service to the world. Your turning to God is a great service to the world. Because then whatever comes your way, you learn to transcend that instead of passing that along. You see? So you break cycles of maybe thousands of years because of just your ability to convert hatred to love, your ability to give it to your heart instead of your narrative, your ability to not come from egotism but to come from God's light, you know, can change patterns which may have been there for thousands of years. So one turning to God, one moment of turning to God is greatly beneficial to all of humanity. It's a great service. It's a great service because otherwise we just end up spreading this.
Father, when you're saying this, I feel like today I was really able to see that how believe in that one thought can spread so much kusang and darkness, and can spread so much of that in the other one's heart, and then it just goes on, and I feel like it almost felt like you had to come pick me up, and then had to like remove that vajjalep that you say, even though I was doing my focus prayer, and I was trying, Father, but something was continuing, like, and mostly I feel like, even though I feel like I was trying, but it wasn't, I wasn't renewed in spirit, like you say. No, felt like it was something was just there.
Very good. It's very good to see this. Now I want to tell you that in turning, our soul, our antakarna always has the capacity to deepen more in God. You see? Our mind comes and sets a limit saying, no, now you've done enough, now you give up. Now enough, now I can't do anymore. But those limits are just set by the mind itself. What I'm trying to say is that trying to be with God should not stop till we are with God. You see? So there should be no such thing as I tried. Huh? And this is not postmodern. This is that there should be no thing in our vocabulary like I tried. It should be that I turned. I attempted me for a few moments, for a few minutes, maybe for a few hours, but then I turned to God. Tell me what stops you from turning deeper, from diving deeper, from being in that holy place more. Can anything stop you? The most compelling thought will come, but you have to give it belief. You have to give it truth value, isn't it? You see? That's why I'm very strongly making the point of our choice for the moment. We have to exert that choice to turn to God. So, to break through these patterns, we have to remember this, that if it feels like I tried but I can't really turn to God because it's so compelling and true, this narrative right now, then that is just a trick from the mind itself. Let me set some context to that. We admire the sages, the saints, for what all they were able to transcend, isn't it? Now, in our life, we've also been given the same raw material to transcend. And we've been given the same texture of the soul. You see? So, our infrastructure for this project is the same. You see? Just the mind convinces us that they were some extra special ones, that we cannot do what they were able to do. It convinces us. But I'm saying that these are just self-limiting beliefs from the mind itself. The one who's trying to sell us on the false story also makes a boundary about our capacity. Each of you can become the highest saint. All of the choices which would be available to the highest saint will be made available in your life. And you have the capacity to be the highest saint. You just have to not fall for the trick where the mind says, no, I can't do this anymore. It is just not true. Can our soul not fall into God more? It can always fall into God more. Can I not live in the truth of who I am? So just notice how the mind limits you in your capacity and say, no, I am a Vanar, I am Hanuman. Say Jai Shri Ram and I'm going to jump. So we keep all the meekness in our interactions with our brothers and sisters. But with the force of Maya, with the narrative, with the Maya, we pick up our soul. We are not to turn meek in front of the deceiver. What does the deceiver make us do? It makes us meek in front of it and makes us strong in front of everyone else. Don't mess with me, don't. It makes us like that with everyone else, but it makes us very weak through narratives within ourselves. So we have to reverse it. Be super humble, be super kind, compassionate with all your brothers, sisters, which you are, I'm saying for everyone. But don't buy rubbish from the mind. Especially when it creates a boundary for your love for the beloved. Say it, please.
Just turning towards God, no, Father. I feel like I don't want to delude myself that I'm turning, even in focus prayer sometimes.
How would you delude yourself?
By believing some thought about what my prayer time was.
That's something. The question, who is this about?
Yeah.
I feel like you have the capacity to check and see whether it's really about me or whether it's about God.
Other that thing, no? I try to take it to God, who is this about?
Yeah.
And you had once told me, allow him to move you instead of relying on some words and following.
Yeah.
And I just tried that, and I said that
Yeah.
who is at the center?
Yeah.
Is it working for you?
Yeah.
And that you, I felt what I said was it came from there.
It's fine. It's fine. It's completely fine. Yeah. One day, before this body passes, I wish I could gain the magnificence of 3 words to Allah. Huh? 3 words, which is God is here. God is here. I don't know. I never find myself able to express in words what I want to say with that line. Only by His grace can it happen.
Actually, I used to see that, and then I would say to myself, I mean, I would break it up instead of just leaving it as a sense that God, like the God of this whole universe, of every little thing. And when you say resides in my heart, I mean, it's not some far away thing, but it, then I kind of, you brought it closer to you, like, you didn't say it was somewhere else, you said, He's here, he resides in, like you said, he resides in my heart, and he's accessible. I mean, I can meet that one because he's here before I could even imagine that he's here. He was already here. And then you just kind of see it, it just remains like, it just say as a concept in my head somewhere. But like,
I feel like in our lives, God seems obscure. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'd be very happy to be corrected on that. But He seems obscure, like almost fictional. So this I want to prod, invite, provoke more and more. Because when you learn to live in the heart, with the heart as the operating system, then God will not seem distant, obscure, struggle.
Rather just staying within your presence, something changes. I'm just saying that, like staying here, like they say, stay with the sage, you stay with Satsang, something automatically just, like taking the name becomes sweeter.
Because we gather in His name, so He blesses us in that way. Gather in His name. Yes. Hi, yeah.
Please. No, I just wanted to say that talking about God is here.
Yeah.
I find when I say and feel, not say, but I feel deeply that God is all there is.
Yeah.
That is something that I can completely get lost in.
Yeah.
And that helps me to lose myself also.
Yeah.
Because when I am deeply in God is all there is, I am. Yeah. But when I say God is here, it makes me feel like I am also there.
Yeah.
And then I feel that then it's like, I don't know, is it?
Yes, that's not the intent of the word, but it can be heard like that. I hear you.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying my words are so inadequate to express what I want to express. See, because for everyone the words are made differently. That's the struggle with language. No? So What needs more food? God or me? To survive. You see, to survive, what needs to be fed more? You see? It's me that needs more effort. You see? And we are used to making that effort out of habit. Because I noticed in satsang also, I could be saying God, 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 but you're going on the inside, but me, but what about this, what about me, but what about me, in various ways. You know? So this juggling act keeps going on. It's like a stubborn insistence on what about me. Zara, you can pass the mic to the back. So suppose I don't hear your question, or I forgot about you. Huh? Would that make you leave God? Let me ask the question before your question.
I might, Father.
Yes, exactly. So this is what then we have to transcend. You see? These small seeming things have great power. Have great power. You see, because they're saying that we once had a full satsang which is about keeping God at the center. And then one child, it so happened, like it always, God plays his sense of humor. So with one child, they asked the question and I forgot about answering it. You know? And then I turned back at that child after some time and she had this expression on her face of hurt, like, but my question didn't get answered. But the whole satsang so far had been about keeping God at the center and not the me. Anyway, but I'm happy to hear your question.
Actually, Father, I wanted to give a small report.
Yes.
So, I'll sit here. So today I usually don't go to office, but today I'd gone and I had told Ma also that there is a lot of gossipy topics going on, and I also got sucked into it. I won't deny I did, and I had a meeting before satsang, and I had sat in the metro and had to come for satsang. So I knew that I was with my colleague, and if I don't switch on the satsang, which I wanted to, and then the gossip will continue. I knew that because it was about the meeting. And I'm so grateful to you, Father, that even if, however, the network was at metro, so the mind was saying, you can discuss, the network is not great, it's struggling to hear. And, but it's just that, just to listen to those words are so, they're so helpful. Like,
Good.
I was struggling to do it by myself. Was trying to pray, chant, at least say constantly Vitthal, Vitthal, Vitthal. But I know I got carried away. But then when I have the strength, I was like, okay. When I heard you, I saw you, and I was like, no, only God. And I'm like, oh, bye bye.
Very good. Very good. And remember that all the experiences teach us something. So remember the juiciness of the gossip. And make a resolution in your heart saying, I will not fall for that texture again. Because it's very compelling. Especially if it is about people in authority or something like that. It can feel like, because we feel some resentment towards authority, then if it is something that even starts humorously, then it can seem very attractive. So whatever the topic was, you just see that what made it so compelling, what made it so attractive for us to jump in. And just
Like the mind says that it is very connected to what I'm working with those people, so it's all the the politics and all, and I don't want to be indulged because I know it just there's no sense of lightness, there's no sense of love, there's no God, I would say. And but there's also this fear that I don't want to lose connection with those colleagues, and they're only few, then I tend continue to listen to them, and but I don't want to, and then this conflict continues.
the mind will scare you. It will say you'll become a loner, you'll be an outcast, you will lose all connection with your colleagues. But in this life towards sainthood, you have to be willing to take those risks. You have to be willing to take those risks. If you don't transcend gossip, then maybe gossip will remain the main challenge till the end of your life. Isn't it?
I should not listen also, like avoid it.
Of course.
Then that's a relief. Okay, I will do, Father.
And if somebody says, why not, just say, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me. We cannot love someone, we cannot love our brothers and sisters and gossip about them. And our job is to love everyone.
Thank you, Father.
Very good, very good. That's the whole attempt, to take spirituality out of being an armchair intellectual lip service spirituality into really applying it in our lives. Every day the rubber hits the road and we are given 100 choices.
Even there you turn to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not make me gossip.
Not?
Not make me gossip.
Yes. Because we can do these things in God's strength. The mind will always have a rationalization. But if I don't engage, then I may not get promoted, or I may not progress in my career. I may not be seen as a team player. The mind will create Maya seeming very right. So God has to provide the strength, but we have to have that inner strength to turn to God, and the inner practice to turn to God in all situations. You see, so when things are easy, we must practice turning to God. So when these difficulties come, then we are able to do it. Otherwise, no chance.
Even that indulgence in food is a big thing. It's a distraction also, because sometimes you're praying and it's like, oh, I'm hungry, but you're not praying. Or like, it convinces you that I have to eat that sweet thing or something. It's you're giving into a sense pleasure. Without challenging it, you just.
It's true. it can be very strong. And the mind can justify, from my own experiences, that I can justify my sweet tooth with many excuses. They seem so right in the moment, but after you've eaten the sweet, you're just like, what rubbish was that? Isn't it? I feel like most of us in the Sangha is the fight in the fight. Like the fight in the fight.
I mean, we're doing a
I
Maria
need to
fight.
inject some Hanumanji in all of us.
What do you mean fight in the fight now?
Like the idea of our fight versus my idea of the fight. I feel like there's some gap in that. Yeah. Just like we said, no, that this idea of I tried.
The trying is to turn and hand over, no, Father, or is there more? If I try on my own,
Yeah.
and something goes wrong, something, I don't know, it might even succeed, but it still go wrong. Is that a wrong thing or?
Some words will come for me to explain it better. What is the boundary of our faith? Like we took some example right now, the room is hot, it's dark, it's all of these things. We seem to be fine. I don't know what's happening inside all of you, but at least outside you seem to be fine. Then, what if your neighbor elbows you? Will that be the boundary? I say, now let me turn to me instead of, no? Is that the boundary? Or is some thought about the ones that you hate the most? What is the boundary of turning back from God to me? Or turning, like what rationalization do you need before you can turn fully to God, forgetting everything in the past? Like how much rationalization is required? So these determine the boundaries of our faith. As we keep talking about this topic, it'll get explained a little better.
Is there any role of the me? That is the thing.
Just to turn to God.
After that, it's okay, whatever happens.
Did I send the Matthew reel? I sent the Matthew reel. I have only one job, which is to follow him. The rest is for him to take care of.
Sometimes I fail in that process. Like I might gossip. In turning, handing over, gossip still happens.
You may,
But
no, you're saying you're turning, after handing over, gossip still happen.
well, yeah. I didn't wait for.
So that's not handing over. One of the tricks of the mind is it's going to bully you and say, but this is seeming too difficult. I'm not cut out for this. It's not happening for me. It's not working for me. It will never happen for me. So don't be the guy in the matrix who says, I know all of it is false, but I can still taste the steak and drink the wine, so I'm fine. That is no life. To rely on Maya for your life is no life. It's literally a zombie life. So don't give up. Don't give up. It may seem difficult, but the truth will prevail if you keep turning to the truth. Will prevail.
I'll just say something
On?
on that. Meeting the boundary of our faith and
Yeah.
getting the reasoning to
Exactly, very good. So the boundary of the faith part is understood, that I am in satsang, I am with God, I'm fine. Like whatever may be happening is fine. I don't even feel the heat, I don't feel the mosquitoes, I don't feel any of that stuff. It's all fine. You know? Then, like I jokingly said, somebody elbows you, or uh, somebody is asking a question which is irritating to you, or something like, what is the sets the boundary that now you say, no, now this is too much, now I will pick up a grievance against this brother or sister, I will not love them as we are being guided to do. I will get upset, I will go to the me, make the me the center. So what is needed for that to happen, to switch out from God? What is your boundary for that? And that boundary has to be very, very strong, large. It has to be very, very large. And the second is, I am stuck in this narrative now. Yeah? Suppose my narrative, I am not cut out for this kind of satsang. It's too difficult. You see? Suppose this is the narrative. So how much resolution, how many intellectual answers for the leaky roof do I need before I wholeheartedly offer myself to God again? So both things are very important.
see Father,
Yeah.
you said that the boundary.
You want the mic? Mic, please.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
You said that the boundary is very large.
Has
and-
to become very large.
Can you
It may
say
be
more?
very small right now.
Say no on that. I didn't get that.
Like, at what level do you start getting into the me mode? Like I said, heat is there, mosquito is there, some other thing may be there also. So that is, all of you seem to be doing fine with that. You see? But then, if somebody says, if somebody takes the mic, says, I was talking to Meera, but she was very bad to me. So this seemingly attack on the identity has come. Will you still stay with God, or will you get into resentment, grievance? You see, or maybe that became too much all of a sudden. Maybe some intermediate. So we see where our boundary is. You look at the lives of the saints. At least by the end of their lives, their boundary was next to infinity. You look at Saint Nectarios. Next to infinity, he could not be provoked into leaving God and leaving his faith in him. He was being violently attacked, his children in the convent were being violently attacked, and he kept turning to God. You see, so that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is that if you find that you're stuck in the narrative, you're squeezing the juice in your head out of all the narrative, and even after a reminder comes, turn to God. Do you jump at that reminder and say, finished, done? Or, no, but what about this? And okay, but then what about this? Oh, but then what about this? Or do you need to feed the intellect all the answers before you make it into God? Or that in the reminder, outer reminder, one reminder, God. Boom. No? I feel like I will become indispensable, hopefully soon, when you have that. For most, like 99% of the situations where you're able to say, yeah? Or that reminder comes, where is God's name? You see? Where is God's name? And you just turn, you see, to AVP and NJ. Yeah? So, with full awe, with full wonder, with full love, with full joy in being in His presence, we return to Him without needing to fill our intellect with rationalizations to leave the me. You see? So this one is a rare skill, but I hope that if there are 8 billion now, a few, like 100 or 200 of us will not, it still be rare enough from 200 out of 8 billion. Were added to those who can leave whatever the compelling narrative may be and turn to God. You see? Turn to God, not conceptually, not Advaita denial, not Advaita avoidance, but truly turn to God by offering the entirety of ourselves to God. Like I belong to you, all of this is yours, I am yours fully, full-heartedly. So I feel like what Krishna says about the ability to deal with vagaries of heat and cold and all of that, it includes, like I will like to co-opt that it includes both ends of it. What prevents you turning fully, joyfully, with full love to God right now? Do you still have some unresolved thing in your intellect which you need an answer to? Do you need God to appear as a seen God in front of you before you can make that turning? All these preconditions have to go. See? Just turn. Yes. I can't see who you are, but you can ask the question. Somehow, yeah.
This only you said in to resolve. So, for example, I got a thought, question only. I experimented like whether it is genuine or whether, मतलब फिर you said कि is it about me or is it about God?
Yeah.
So then that went, that question went, and
Yeah.
then it comes back again and again.
Yes, but the point of the question, the point of the inquiry is not for the problem to go away. It is a reminder for us to give our heart to God again. So it's not just a pain removal technique. It is a surrendering technique. It is a offering technique. It is a giving of ourselves to God. So I reminded myself that this is becoming about me. So then I learn to return to God using His name, returning to that love, returning to that wonder, returning to that joy. I can give you a question that can cover.
One more thing, Fad, आप बोल रहे थे कि what is it that if I'm feeling like I'm focused on God maximum, उसके बाद like what I get limited is this कि बस हो गया, इससे ज़्यादा
Correct.
मेरे से नहीं
Exactly.
हो सकता.
Exactly.
या जैसे आपने बोला कि all of us have the same ingredients in our life which
Absolutely.
we can become same. I'm like, nahi, Father is being kind and not for like, it's how can it be for someone like me?
I'll take another thought experiment, okay? When you're going through a problem, don't you feel like my life is the worst? You feel that. So when you're going through something, it feels like I only have this special problem. You see, nobody has as tough a life. No? Everything then seems through that lens like I have been given the worst. You see, so we have been given the challenges, the worst challenges, at least in our eyes. Isn't it? So, and Saint Therese is very good for these things. To read Saint Therese is very good because she just reminds us that it's about the small things. Transcend the small things. Transcend the small things. Not at all. Not at all. It's such a joy to have a child in the Satsang. Bye. 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 And he was very good, in spite of the heat, in spite of everything.
He said bye.
Yeah, he's learned now before going. Is it?
एक आखिरी
Please ask as many
तो
as you
जैसे मैं कुछ प्रैक्टिस कर रही हूँ, नाम जाप कर रही हूँ, या मेरा मन हो रहा है भजन गाने
Yeah.
का, या मे बी रामचरितमानस पढ़ रही, तो if I have like time, sometimes I don't have, but if I have time, I'll try like I'll try pushing. How do I say? मतलब I- I'll not. I'll fight the giving into like some. She was saying खाना खा लेते हैं या कुछ काम कर
Yes, but
लेते
with God's name, you can do it throughout, whatever activity may be happening.
Yes.
Both inquiry also. With inquiry also, you can do it in any time. There is no right or wrong place to do it. You can do it in the washroom also. This inquiry and God's name has no stoppage. Like there's nothing that we need to be careful about.
So the end, like what I'm trying, the end of sometime the end point of focused prayer or doing some focused thing, if I'm not able to come to that place of rest, then also it is I'm okay. I'm not
It's all
able.
right. If you're taking God's name, it's still better than not taking God's name. But try to spend a few minutes in that silence every day. As an active recollection, we described it, and then because mostly it is seen in the lives of sages that those who attempted the active recollection first got to passive recollection. So if you're not even going to try active recollection, then passive recollection may not happen that organically.
Thank you for that.
Very welcome.
What I'm taking is that from this is that I like if like I was stopping my job after forgetting, so I'll not I can
Yeah,
do
you
that
don't need to
yeah,
stop.
I
You
can
don't
do
need to stop if you're
I
eating
should do.
food, if you're doing some other activity.
Yes.
At some level, it can continue.
Yes.
Like if I have to work on some program or I have to work on some spreadsheet,
Yes.
then maybe there's not enough attention in the mind intellect system to take God's name. Then I just take it with my lips.
Yes.
And it's quite straightforward. You can keep working on what you want and just keep taking it. When it's I have to speak to someone in the world, not satsang, where that heart to mouth takes full attention and focus. But if it's some worldly just chit chat happening, inwardly the naam can go on
Yes.
while the mouth is engaged in whatever it needs to be engaged in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does this mean that I'm doing it well? Of course not. Like there's a long way to go, but that's the attempt at least. Please.
Father, when I try to check this question that what is the border or the I am not able to find it, to be honest. Like for me it's like a moment to moment, like
I don't want to hear your question. Is that the border? No, suppose it was true. So like for a few moments you were like shell shocked, but after the shock then it could become like, oh, but father doesn't like me, he doesn't, he doesn't. So then that can be. So what you do is if you're not able to find through looking like that, then just look from it in the past or look for it from it in your day itself. Usually in the day itself provides me enough feedback for where my boundary is. You getting a sense? So if you look back at today, what took you out of God and into the me?
like where I'm struggling, Father, is that I'm not, there's no like a section of the day. It's like more like every time, every thought I'm trying to fight. And suppose right now, like you were saying that, suppose you don't hear my question, then I was trying to let it go. Then okay, come back to God. Then something else comes up, that I'm able to do it, for example. Then again I have to fight that. So
So okay, let me reset it for you in some way. You're in your heart temple. Now God is central to you. It may not be during work, it may be very tough, but let's say satsang. So in satsang hall now, God is central to you. Now what needs to happen now where you will turn that from God to me? Suppose somebody from behind constantly make noise. Will you then get into me mode and start into grievances? This person should know how to behave in satsang, all this thing. Will that turn you to me? So you refine, or somebody asks a question, or I don't, this one who's speaking doesn't indulge in your question. What is that which stops you? And you don't need to speculate about this really. I mean, I'm just offering it as an experiment, but life will show us. Life shows us every day where our boundaries are. But what is important is that you are not like what it sounded to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, what it sounded to me like is there's like a activity in the waking state, then a thought comes, and then you like pick God, not the thought, pick God. No, but you have to pick God and stay with God throughout first. That has to become the substratum on which the thought has to try and pull you out of. Right now it seems like you're in middle of both the doors. And when the thought comes through one door, you're saying, no, let me run to the other door. No, you have to live inside what's inside that door and see if something pulls you out of that. Is this
yes,
somewhat?
yes.
But you're getting a sense of like how are you in satsang? Just turn towards God and facing that way. Then the mind has to work harder to pull you out. It has to. So you're not in some state where you're open to both doors, and then when the mind offers you me stories, then you try to turn to God. That's a very difficult job. You have to stabilize yourself. You have to abide in that inward turn mode, antarmukhi sadasukhi mode. So, and then when the mind offers you narratives, then we are asking which narrative, what event mixed with narrative pulls you towards the me instead of keeping you in God. That is the very definition of tapasya. No? That is the burning of the false conditioning, the egoic conditioning. If you refuse to turn to the me, no matter what the provocation is. But first, settle in God. So don't leave your bed till you settle in God. Yes?
Yes, thank you.
And I do want to hear your questions, all right? It is not to.
Thank
not
you
to
very much.
Nothing, no? There is no. I don't know, but then how is this? Is this on battery?
Power is come back, the UPS is not functioning.
Oh, can we make it direct? No, then someone knows how to.
Wiring, we are not getting the hang of it to. You could make a trip as well. Where is the?
It's right behind this. Yeah, just see if it is stripped from here. Otherwise, we can just call someone, can call security and say this house electricity is stripped.
No, there it is.
Exactly, just see this from here. There's nothing down here, then the MCB down must have tripped. So we can say P1, P2, one of them have tripped.
Is the light back? But how do we?
Sure it's back?
Yeah, it's back. It's there everywhere else. Can you just feed down and see like?
See if you can hear the generator outside for the lift.
नया लाइट है हाँ तो ये P1 P2 का ट्रिप हो गया नीचे से आप उसको सीधा कर सकते हैं ऊपर P 8 फ्लोर
तीनों चेक करो, P1, P2, P3.
P1 P2 P3 तीनों चेक करो हाँ P 8
8 floor.
चेक कर दो अभी प्लीज C1
Come, otherwise the petrol pump generator will be on.
Yeah. No, but he checked outside. And the guard is saying is that.
light है
So this created the perfect environment for this tapasya.
Yeah, I felt that switch is on. How do we know it's black?
So what's the thing? The UPS is incorrect. The wiring is not. Fix it.
No, it's not showing the power.
Input power
This
is not
power,
coming.
the input power, the light should.
So something needs to be fixed in it.
The MCP down must have circuit.
That must have.
There are two MCB for
There are actually 3. 1, 2, 3. So this one, we don't know the exact number of this one.
I'm going to roll off. We'll buy a new inverter father. It's no use to have this not working later. It's never working now for 10 minutes.
Just call Satyajit and tell him that this one is not understanding him.
I'll go out, Father. You can continue.
It's good, it's good. Love is the superpower. Because the turning and staying without love will be impossible, I feel.
Turning will be, the love will be love for God.
Yes, love, God. All love comes from love for God. All love, like I keep saying, God, no? He changed my life with all of these pointings. So he said, love is love only when it is about God. All other love is a reflection of that love.
Father, this is also a thought, right? Like, it's so easy around you, or it's so
Yes.
easy around Sangha,
Yes.
and it's so hard when I'm in my space. But it's also true, right?
Yeah. Something came. Sorry, we'll just come to that. I heard the beep. Something came.
No, Aquaguard is switching off.
Yeah, but something did come through. You must be telling him. I don't know. So what did you say?
You see, we switched it off from the bottom.
So, which thought is a thought? Every thought is a thought. There was like initially, remember, we used to have some satsang where we used to say every thought is a thought. So every thought is a thought, which means that no thought ever offers us the full truth. So what may happen is that you may buy into this thought, it's easier around Ananta, it's easier around Sangha, and it's more difficult when I'm by myself. But inbuilt, what is unsaid in that thought is that easy is better, or it can only happen around. And when we make those restrictions on ourselves, then we are stopping our life. It can be fully lived in God. We're restricting it to only 3-4 hours or 6 hours a week. It can be so much more. So don't get into the implied meaning of that thought in this case. This is very sneaky, because you say, is this true or not? And I feel like, yeah, it's sort of, but what is it trying to motivate you to do? It's trying to motivate you to give up on that time. Is too difficult for you in the other times. Just around satsang time, it's possible for you. So what should happen is that you should say that the true Sadguru who Ananta is pointing to is always with me in my heart. You see? Now I can be with that, I have to deepen in that, and Ananta himself is saying that he needs to become dispensable in our lives. You see? So he's not going to leave us in a situation of difficulty. So it will get easier, so we have to practice more and more so that that also seems as natural as being in satsang. All of this is just a tiny fragrance of your heart temple. Being in the outer, with the outer guru, being with the outer sangha, is a tiny taste of what your heart temple tastes like. So don't let your mind convince you that something is missing when you're by yourself. Of course, we gather in God's name. When there is one who tries to offer himself fully to God, then by His mercy and grace alone, it creates an environment for everyone to get a taste. But we must not feel like that taste is the entirety of our spiritual project. It's just to give a taste. You know the taste now of being in the satsang. You know the taste. So now look for that same taste in your heart and follow that fragrance, follow that taste. Deepen like that. So we're not trying to forcibly prove the wrongness of every thought. We're just trying to show the incompleteness of it to start with, and we're trying to look at the intent behind what it is trying to sell you. It is trying to prevent your sainthood. That's all fine. Then can we try and make remove the UPS and make it direct? Do you know how to?
No, the wiring is gone from here to single plug. There's no double plug there.
Then the one will go to UPS and one will come out from UPS.
So they have done a different kind
Achha.
of wiring. So
Okay. It's all right. It's all right. No, it's all right. We'll close soon. We'll see.
Father, this is connected to there.
Okay.
Should it? No, but
Is it connected to there? No.
should I check in that side if it's on and off?
guys switched it off.
इधर से है नहीं ना, इस side है इसका switch.
But that's coming from that side. That means this one is.
Even the kitchen background is working, but I don't know why the lighting is.
That means the lighting circuit is.
Yeah.
Chaitanya managed to make it direct. Yeah. So happy. Right. Tapasya over. Two ways to look at the same thing. Yes. Yes, have to turn.
Father, namaste, Father. Father, so I do progress and I fall down.
It's okay. Just say it without turn it off. It's
Okay. Most of the time I feel that I do progress and I fall down. I do progress and I fall down. Again and again
painful to start from the scratch again and again. So
Yes.
when does it will stop and
Ah.
how does it will stop?
What is it painful for?
The effort.
Huh? If you had no idea of spiritual progress, would it still be painful?
No.
Exactly. So remember, the one who is spiritually progressing is spiritual pride. Don't be attached to any spiritual progress. So then when you fall down, you get up. When you fall down, you get up. It doesn't hurt. Huh? You take that also as a gift from God. God knows what He's doing. God knows what He's doing. But if you attach to the idea of progress, then regress will hurt. Huh? Then you feel like, oh, I was progressing. I don't know what you're basing it on. But whatever you're basing it on can become very good raw material for spiritual pride. Huh? So, falling down, getting up is part of all our spiritual life. Every day, 100 times I fall down, get up. So, but if that hurts, why do I fall? Why do I have to come back to beginner? You see, we have to become beginner. We have to remain forever beginner. That should not hurt. So this is God's gift to you. It's pointing out, it is hurting me, there's some pride being built up about progress. Progress all belongs to Him only. Just leave it to Him. The minute we feel like, I should be beyond this by now, the minute we buy into that thought, oh, this I should be beyond by now, life will show you that you're not. And that's its grace. Because we were building that pride about that. You were starting to build pride around that. Who is that I should be beyond this by now? The one who is spiritually progressing. That is not spirit. That is egotism.
This one is a big trap.
Everyone is a big trap.
No, because you tend to evaluate your own behavior.
All good is happening by His mercy alone. All falling is happening by His mercy alone. All getting up is happening by His mercy alone. Just keep thanking Him for His mercy and keep turning to God in love. We must never feel like we are progressing, because I've seen where that can go. Because one day you will start to feel I have progressed. Then even I will not be able to pull you from that perch, from that pedestal. So it's God's grace that we feel like we are progressing, then we are falling. So we never come into I have progressed. Like I said, no? You were understanding, but then unfortunately you understood. Yeah. The day you understood, it's over. Not in a good way. Forever beginner, we're forever beginners. Forever beginner. The last only comes first. But if he's trying to be last to come first, then it's not last. Is it? The one who comes first doesn't win in this race. Now that we have enlightenment, should we go? How is everything? It's fine?
I'm praying for a miracle one day and it happened.
Oh. What is?
This morning with a link for the payment.
Look at that! Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Jesus, Jai Allah. Look at that.
What's the news?
He's in the process again now, so we'll see what he gets.
Now it's up to him. Now he has no. This is very good. This is. Oh Lord, thank you. So at least the child has no reason to resent now. That's the main thing. What happened is what is.
My son has appeared for his engineering entrances.
You can take the mic.
Yeah, so my son has appeared for all his engineering entrances this year, and he passed his he passed his 12th grade last year, but he took a drop last year because his dream college was BITS Pilani, any of the campuses, and but unfortunately in the exam he didn't do so well, but he was in the borderline score. And there is this long process of counseling that happened, some 6 rounds and all. So he was very hopeful that his score is borderline, so he would get it. He would get in one of the lower branches, but he was okay with that. And there was some fee that had to be paid. And we made a mistake in the way we paid the fees. We paid for one track and we did not pay for the other because we thought it's the same thing, something. And he was out of the process. And he was very upset, and I was upset because it was partly my mistake that I did not see what mails he's getting, what is written in that. I just went with what he told me, and we both were really upset. So on last Wednesday,
So it seemed like it is done because these institutions don't change their processes.
Don't change. And we actually spoke to somebody who works there, a professor there, and he said, I'll try, but it's difficult. And he said, I spoke to somebody, but they said, not possible. We got a mail saying it's not possible anymore. So in Satsang on Wednesday, I told Father, and Father said that I can only pray for miracles, and I believe in miracles. So that fact, and just this morning he received a mail, and actually it was really interesting. What happened was he slept very late yesterday night because he's been watching football, and yesterday he was doing something else. So he woke up late, and then he saw that at 10 o'clock a mail had come to him with a link for payment, and 11:30 they said you have to pay, otherwise we cannot entertain you anymore. And it was already beyond 12.
Oh man.
But we just clicked on the link and it was there. I said, I'll pay anyways. I'll anyways go ahead and pay, and let's see what happens. And we sent a screenshot, it's paid. But then we didn't know. Just evening around 5:30, we logged into the thing and it reflected. It said, now you're back in the process. And so he's very relieved. And it is a miracle.
Because I was feeling bad because he was blaming her, and child has taken 1 year just to prepare, and his main college he was preparing for was this. Now whatever happens or doesn't happen, at least he doesn't have any reason to be upset, because that can become a big resentment to the child.
Because he was upset, I was quite upset that day, but I think after speaking to you, I'd actually left it with you.
To God.
Whatever happens, happens. It's okay. Thank you. No, he's still in the counseling process. So
At least he wasn't thrown out of the process because of some mistake, like some error. That can be painful. Like at least now he gets to participate in the process fair and square. And
It's hot air in the fan.
No, childhood trauma about fan circulating hot.
Hurricane speed. She has to have this fan like there's a hurricane on.
I also feel that you answering the same questions again and again with so much patience and love is such a miracle.
I just feel like because I deal with the same challenges, then I'm not in some pedestal and sharing about a lower thing again and again. I deal with the same things. Maya comes, traps me in various things here also.
Dada was telling us about Father
Lazarus.
Lazarus and how he said, I'm a struggler until the end. He was so. He was alive.
He?
Same old Dada. He's alive. No, I mean.
He is still, not till his end.
No, sir.
Okay, that's what, even I didn't know.
Yeah, that say Dada, what he was sharing with me. That he just said that he had to keep struggling. He didn't think that it's going to end. He says it doesn't matter, it doesn't end.
I feel at the top of the mountain, at least in my life, I have to say, is a fallacy. We must never get into the top of the mountain fallacy, that, especially that I have God, in a way related to what Atmarama asked, that like progress leads to some top of some mountain. I don't feel like there is a top of that mountain, at least I am far from it. And if the top of the mountain means that there is not more God to love, then I don't want to go to that top. See, God made sure that since we were talking about the hot topic of tapasya, He made it quite hot in the room. Special effect department is working.